Hey there, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Investing in Germany. And today, let's have a look at the windfall tax on the energy companies in Germany. Nowadays, there are quite a lot of noise around the windfall tax in the news and everywhere in European Union or also in America and so on. So, all the major economies like the USA, Germany, France, Czech Republic are affected by the hard to control inflation. And therefore, they are knocking the windfall door to fund their relief plans and to get some sort of price stability in the energy, oil, and gas market. In Germany, the windfall tax is on the table for those energy companies who became really lucky due to the sanctions imposed on Russia. I think it's necessary for us to take a step back and see this issue. So, it's not the war that has created this inflation or this supply gap, but those sanctions imposed by the major economies on the Russia has created the high inflation mess all around the world. The energy companies are making huge margin, huge profit, not because they are really greedy and making use of the current situation we are in, but the companies are making the huge profits due to the energy pricing policy which is in place in the euro area, the European Union, for some period of time. In Europe, the energy prices is fixed by the merit order principle. So it sounds really fancy, but it's really simple. What it says is that the cheapest energy is connected to the grid first, and the costliest energy connected to the grid defines the energy price. So for example, let's say that we have an energy demand of 100 megawatts. So the first to be connected to the grid are those solar, wind power, all the renewable energies which are really cheaper nowadays. If they are not able to meet the demand, then comes the next cheapest, which could be nuclear, and then the coal, and then the waste, and then the hydro. So it just goes in ascending order of the cost of the electricity. And finally comes the gas, which is currently the costliest way of producing the electricity in Germany. And as per the merit order principle, the gas defines the price of the energy. So since the gas is now really costly, their producing cost is also really costly. Therefore, the solar, wind, nuclear, coal, who are relatively cheaper, are having a huge profit margin. So this is one of the reasons why we have high energy prices in Germany. As you can see in this graph, the energy price is following closely the gas price, so we can fairly assume and conclude that in Europe we need gas to fill the complete energy demand. If you look at the comparison of the first half year of 2021 and first half year of 2022, we can see that natural gas production has come down. This is majorly due to the fact that we have really issues in getting those gas from Russia. We have a lot of bombs on those pipelines and the sanctions and so on. Where this gap has been breached is with the coal. As you can see, the coal has increased from 27.1 to 31.4, which indirectly says that our air in Germany or in Europe is getting dirtier. One of the advantage of the merit order principle is that since the renewable energy is getting very cheaper, it really puts a lot of incentive to the companies to move to the renewable energy like the solar or wind, because their margins really high. So how much are these companies making? So this is the first of year report from the RWE, which is one of the biggest energy producing company in Germany, and they're also part of the DAX index. So you can see that the first half of 2021 to first half of 2022, the profit has boomed like $1.1 billion. It's quite incredible. So this is why the politicians and the governments are really furious. RWE is not just into the wind and solar, but it also has a complete portfolio like the coal, nuclear, biogas, gas, hydro, and so on. Even though they have the complete portfolio, they're still making a huge profit. So if you compare to the energy producing companies which are into only on the wind and solar, they will be making really more. As of now, RWE will be like really happy to have those wind and solar portfolio, and they would be really pushing hard to increase that portfolio so that they can earn more profits from their investments. It's not all the energy companies in Germany are making huge profits. We also have a company called Uniper, which is also into energy producing, and they have reported a loss of about 40 billion euros. One of the main reasons here is that Uniper had really strong dependency on the Russian gas. So once the Russian gas dried up due to the sanctions, they had to go to the open market, the spot market, and buy those gas at really high price compared to the Russian gas, and they were not able to pass this on to the consumer. Therefore, they are taking it in their P&L statements. Of course, Uniper, as it goes like this, it will not survive, and therefore we have the German government pumping in billions and billions of dollars into the Uniper to make it alive. To summarize, not all the energy making companies are making huge profits. Those companies which have the portfolio in the cheap energy production like nuclear, solar and hydropower and so on, they are making huge profits. Coming back to the windfall tax, Euro is a really complex system, right? Just coming out and saying that we will tax those windfall profits by 90%, 80% will not just fly. We have a really good example here. The Shell, which used to be headquartered in Dutch, has moved to UK for saving taxes. So if the Germany tax the companies like 90% of the windfall profits, then they could clean up a couple of rooms in the headquarters and move to a different country where there is no tax or very less tax on those windfall profits, and everything is fine for them. So it's a very delicate situation, and all the European countries needs to be aligned here. And what's really good here is that almost all the major economies within the EU as well as the US and so on, everybody are aligned to have this windfall tax so that they can fund their relief funds and to have some sort of price stability in the market. This shows how the German economy was really dependent on the Russian gas, oil and coal industry. As you can see here, before the war, Germany was purchasing more than 50% of gas and coal supplies. But since the war and the sanctions, Germany has gradually reduced its dependency on the Russian gas, oil and coal. Even though now in October, Germany has completely moved away from the gas and coal supply from the Russia, they are still somehow dependent on the oil supply from the Russia. It is fair to assume that over the period of time, Germany will eventually come out of the dependency on the Russian oil supply, but then it has to pay some cost for this. For example, here just for moving away from the Russian gas supply, Germany has to spend almost 46 billion euros to re-engineer and negotiating the supply from different countries around the world like Qatar and USA and so on. And the European Union could also spend more than 65 billion euros to reduce the Russian dependency. So there is a cost which we are paying, of course, on the taxpayers' money, but then this is what we are in. At the moment, Germany is buying the gas from the spot market, really pumping up the gas prices in the market, and it also affects all those developing countries who does not have a deep pocket. So they are really forced into a different sources of power generation. So for example, the developing countries would go towards the coal for producing the energy, which then makes the air more dirtier. The war and the sanctions have created a really great mess all around the world, and we have to see how the world is going to move on with this. See you in the next video. Bye.